Folks, before the IRS is going to approve you for any deal, whether that's an offer in compromise, a hardship-based installment agreement, currently non-collectible status, anything, that deal has to be deemed by the IRS, and I want you to remember this phrase, that deal has to be deemed by the IRS to be in the best interest of the government, okay? If it's not in the best interest of the government to accept such a deal, be it an offer in compromise or an installment agreement proposal or anything else, the IRS is not going to accept it, okay? Because the IRS isn't cutting deals with taxpayers out of the goodness of its heart or because it's some kind of charitable organization. It's doing so because it gets something in return from the taxpayer it's cutting a deal with, right? For example, in the offer and compromise program, yes, you are agreeing with the IRS to settle your debt for less than you owe. Could potentially save you tens, hundreds, for some folks, millions of dollars in back taxes. But the IRS gets two things out of it. One, it gets some money now, right? Not as much as the original balance, but it gets some money, some cash in the treasury, okay? And number two, it also gets a compliant taxpayer, at least for the next 5 years. Because one of the terms of the offer in compromise is that you have to pay your taxes on time, file your taxes on time for the next 5 years after offer acceptance, or you'll default your offer and be back at square one and owe all that tax debt all over again, okay? So you gotta remember, best interest of the government. Even when the IRS settles someone's tax debt for less than they owe, it is still conducting itself in the best interest of the government. And you gotta remember that, okay? You gotta remember that when you're interfacing with an IRS revenue officer, right? Because he or she has that phrase in their mind as well. And sometimes when you make your arguments to a revenue officer, or an offer examiner, or an offer specialist, or an appeals officer, right? You gotta remember this phrase, and you gotta position your arguments in such a way that it communicates to the individual on the other side of that bargaining table that what you're proposing is, in fact, in the best interest of the government.